I'm pretty winded running from the back of the march to the front of the march, the side of the march to getting down on my knees. It's pretty agile.
Yeah, I need to start going to the gym more.
That's a good one. Yeah. You gotta lock the door.
Huh?
You gotta lock the front door.
Right now we're going to the People's March, formerly the Women's March. We got in contact with Cassidy and Kate, who are organizing the event, so we're sort of following them for the day and doing like a one-day film on her kind of first foray into organizing an event like this, because it was like thrust upon her, so she's kind of taken up the mantle to put on the event today. So we're gonna go rendezvous with her outside City Hall and get a mic on her and then kind of see where the day goes. Oh, it's vintage.
It's the OG.
It's the OG. Can I get a shot of that?
Yeah. Felt appropriate today, unfortunately.
I was shooting with a Sony FX6 and a Sigma 24-70, and then of course I had the shoulder rig in the NBA configuration, the long-legged NBA configuration. Audio was a Sennheiser Radiolav, a Sennheiser MK600, which I used for like shotgun interviews, like I used that for Kate's interview, and then I had a Zoom H1N, which I plugged into the board, and that got all the podium audio. So that was pretty much the setup for the day on my end.
I don't know our equipment, Nick. Nah, I shot on the A7 III with the Vintage Prime. I shoot with two handles for stabilization because I'm pretty weak and I need it with a big old neck strap on it. That way I can balance everything and get what I need. My mic is a Rode shotgun. I have a shotgun Rode.
That's good. Here's some quick clips of Cassidy being funny, which not all of them could make it in.
I was like, I need to wear it like Lindsay Lohan does in Freaky Friday. I'm like chronically on time.
Oh, okay.
So it's like 10 and I'm like, where is everybody?
Pretty stylish.
The cheetah bird? It's all you. What are we listening to?
Nothing raunchy.
Just kidding. I made a playlist already.
Nothing raunchy. Unfortunately, we're in front of City Hall, so we gotta keep it.
Oh, of course. Maybe a couple curse words. No F.
Damn. Ass.
Cool. That's what they say here in City Hall, damn and ass. Yes. Thank you. Feels so official, the clipboard. It's actually Coach KG's.
Oh, nice.
Very much a better come home with you conversation we had this morning.
So our act one was about Cassidy being new to organizing, being a first-time organizer, and so top of the day, those were the questions that I knew I needed to get, which was basically, what are you nervous about? How did you get involved with this process? What does success look like for you to the day? And we started that morning with a really quick sort of shotgun interview with her, and she checked those off really quickly.
It's a lot, it's been a lot, but it's exciting, it feels good.
And so like, how much time did you have when you first found it out that you were going to be doing this?
I found out in December, and then from the time that the city signed the permit, I had 3 weeks.
So like I got our dialogue for Act 1 really fast, and that left a couple of hours before the event actually started, filming crowd and doing some other like verite filmmaking, getting some bonus scenes with Cassidy setting up and telling the story that way, which is like what I prefer.
No, we don't have any counter protests or any counter for that.
Cool.
Nobody's out here against you.
Amazing.
So we're in good shape.
Cool.
Awesome.
Cool. If you need anything from me,
Act 2 was more my side of the film. Nick was mostly focused on Cassidy and the speakers of the day, and it was my job to kind of get into the crowd and weave in and out. So the crowd we wanted to create as its own character to really encapsulate what the speakers were saying and how it was relaying to the crowd. This glues together Cassidy's personal success with the bigger picture goals of everyone participating in the march and mobilizing in this political climate. Nick and I meet a lot of people at these protests, and we can see that a lot of people care. It helps us sleep better at night.
Act 3, we end at the art museum steps where the march ends and touch base with Cassidy, and we see how does she feel about her success throughout the day. And she feels much more connected. She feels better able to reach out to other organizers, to continue to be politically involved and engaged. And she feels like her avenue to keep the conversation going is alive and well, which like Cassidy said multiple times throughout the day, was like the goal is just to keep the conversation going, Excellent.
Say that again. Say that again.
It's raining. All right, cinematography time. So all day it was really cloudy. It was overcast from like 8 in the morning to 3 p.m. So we didn't really have to adjust exposure much at all between our two cameras, which really helped keep the footage in the same family and look pretty good. Yeah, so it was raining pretty much on and off all day. It was going from like little sprinkle, not a big deal, to like, oh, okay, like the gear's getting pretty wet, like, you know. So I would say like the rain was a challenge. Yeah, and then I also had a Moment Cinebloom filter, which is just helps like diffuse highlights. I can't always control my character where they are in relation to the sun, which is kind of how I light these types of docs all day long. It's just me working with the sun, working with natural light. It made me less dependent on where the placement of the sun in relation to my character, which is really helpful when like you're walking through the streets or like, you know, you don't always get that luxury of like positioning your character.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, we were shooting most of it just like wide handheld cinematography, up in the action, 35 millimeters. I tried not to really zoom too much. I would zoom in for sequencing and just getting some tights here and there, or like or portrait shots of Cassidy. But I mostly wanted that 35 millimeter handheld look on the shoulder rig, following her around, because the nature of being an activist really is just, I'm over here, I'm over there, I'm taping up this thing, I have a clipboard, I'm carrying this stuff, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So that sort of lended itself, I think, to her story of the day.
So the 35 is good to shoot for a protest or a march just because it sees what the human eye sees. So it really creates a very captivating video. And also as a first-time shooter, or maybe as a beginner shooter at a protest or at a march, you have to be aware of your surroundings, and sometimes messing with your camera settings, messing with the zoom lens, it might not be the best thing for a beginner. So to start out, 35 is usually really good.
I'm pretty winded, running from the back of the march to the front of the march to then the side of the march to getting down on my knees. It's pretty agile. Yeah, I need to start going to the gym more.
The momentum of the crowd was they would start and then they would stop. And so when they were going, it was like one of the fastest moving crowds I think we've been in. The crowd would march, we'd run to the front, we'd capture compositions of the crowd leaders holding megaphones, holding signs, sequence with tight shots of like crowd members marching, maybe like a wider composition, if we can get it in. Then the crowd would be on us, we'd get lost in the crowd, and then we'd run back to the front again. And so that's like the loop of like getting the sequencing for shooting something like this.
You get it?
Kinda. I'm not crazy about it.
This is what democracy looks like. Tell me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. People! Power! Power!
And I decided to shoot this in 60 FPS, which I don't always do, just because like it really determines the edit. Like your edit becomes really limited when you shoot in like at a slower speed. Because I just decided to shoot 60 FPS because the crowd was moving so fast. I'm actually really glad I made that choice because the edit was getting wordy. This was a good way to just give a little bit a different impact to the movie.
So now here are some scraps that Nick left on the cutting room floor.
My crap.
Your crap, yeah.
My crap. Thanks so much for watching, everybody.
Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe for more films and behind the scenes and stuff like this. So long.
Let's keep that conversation going. Let's not get complacent again. That's definitely what happened last time. But now they're gone. Okay.